Hi, everyone. Tom Barrett from EnCirca. I've been coming to ICANN since its formation back in '98. So I've been around for a while. Currently run EnCirca as my main registrar. Small registrar, but our niche is helping registries who have special requirements. So we are the top ICANN registrar for .banks, .cpa, .pharmacy, .post, etc. Any registry that requires something extra, we're probably the go-to registrar for that. And I'll explain why that's important later.
Hi everyone, my name is Andriy Khvetkevych. Originally, I'm founder of two registrars, the largest registrar of Ukraine, Eat.ua, and NicNames.com, currently CEO and founder. And we at NicNames.com are going with a flowing Web3 and supporting native solutions, including DNS domains. And I think it will be very interesting to talk about today, about the future, where we're going to, and take it away.
Hi there, my name is Elias. I'm representing InterNetX. We are part of the Jonas Group, the largest European registrar, and we are following these three since quite a while. I'm happy to be here because I think there was already quite a journey that they made, and I'm super proud to be part of this group here.
Thank you. Thank you, all three of you, for taking time out. I know it's Monday. I keep on repeating this. I know it's a Monday on ICANN, and it's almost day 2. So few housekeeping things. There are a series of questions, and it's built out on themes. So the how, when, why, future, and what does it look like. The first question is going to be a round robin for all of you. And then I have specific questions for each theme of question, and we'll go through that. So the first one, let's start from the beginning. When did Web3 and tokenization come onto your radar? What made you start thinking of it, or what or who or why did you get introduced to it? And then, some of the reasons why you started exploring Doma protocol and then talking to the D3 team. So whoever wants to go first.
I'm going to go first. Actually, originally, when we started NicNames.com, we were thinking how to be for the registrar who has something different than GoDaddy, for example. And we actually applied to different foundations as a registrar that supports Web3, that planning to do tokenization and other things. And we actually also applied to ICANN, to their grants, like to research around Web3, how we can help community. And we had conversation with D3, with the Doma protocol, and we decided to join the Doma protocol just because we not going to create something for ourselves. We're gonna work with the community. We're gonna work with a protocol that creates solution for everyone. In this case, the protocol and the solution everyone will use, not only one registrar, because we know that there are some companies that creating their own solutions. They work only for those companies, and they're not interoperable. And what's the point, like, with those solutions? And we decided to support Doma protocol, and we support the DNS protocol because it's created for everyone. It's not created for one company. And it's very cool.
Thank you.
Turbo next. Okay. Yeah, well, honestly, I think my journey started quite a while ago when ENS domains started to get around, and we kind of looked into it. But at the end, I think for us, and especially for our user group, which are really not the tech savies ones out there, it was way too complicated back then. Yeah, so we looked into, are there partners out there that on the one side, as you just described, are not just trying to sell one PLD, one ending as their main purpose, and rather having a platform that can build on. And secondly, again, for us, it is really about, we have more than 6 million customers. It needs to be as simple as the one button saying, do ABC, earn money, sell my domain, whatever it is. And I think that's why we thought D3 is really the partner to go with.
Thank you.
So I'm going to step back a little bit. For us old guys, we know what happened 30 years ago, right? The web came out. It was hugely disruptive. It disintermediated supply chains, bricks and mortar businesses, right? And it's basically where we are today. So today we have a similar opportunity of disruption between AI and Web3. Again, it's going to disintermediate all kinds of industries. So the opportunities I see are, the base foundation is DNS, just like it was 30 years ago. But I'm going to simplify the Web3 into 3 core pillars, right? We have decentralized finance, we have decentralized content, and we have decentralized identities, all right? And so my journey to Doma actually starts with DNS, all right? So with the last round of new TLDs, as I told you earlier, we help registries who want to do something extra. So there is a new TLD, it's a stupid string to be honest with you, .lux, L-U-X-E, and they decided they're going to integrate to ENS. They want to do wallet naming. They were the first ICANN TLD to do it, all right? And so we were on board with that. We did that integration 8 or 9 years ago. That's talking about history, right? And so since then, things have evolved. ENS has evolved, and we participated in a bunch of other Web3 projects, from Handshake to Unstoppable to Freename to DecentraWeb, and a few more I can't remember, right? And what's interesting is from that original model, right, that was where in order to implement .lux, and I'm simplifying it, they had to come up with a unique set of smart contracts that where .lux, the registry operator, was in control of these smart contracts, right? So they controlled that ENS namespace for .lux. And so that meant, if you wanted to onboard a TLD to ENS, the registry operator had to be on board, right? They've since evolved, right? And so as they evolved, they went from the registry operator being at the apex to registrars or registrars. So we still had a few problems, not just with ENS, but with the other Web3 names out there. Because fundamentally, we learned that if you want consumers to trust these Web3 names, they have to be accountable for bad actors, right? And there is no Web3 project today that have figured out how to hold bad actors accountable, all right? And so that led us to, unfortunately, the conclusion is that the only way this is going to work is if we can bridge a framework that already holds bad actors accountable. That happens to be the ICANN framework, all right? So that's the brutal reality. Pure decentralization is not going to fly if you can't hold people accountable. So real quickly, responsible DNS integration was our core aim here. As a business owner, what I care most about is reputational risk for my brand and for my customers. And so I have to make sure that ICANN doesn't get upset at me, that my customers don't get upset at me, that I don't get liability financially. And so that's what led me to Doma as the right approach, because it makes me the custodian of both the Web 2 asset and the Web 3 asset. And it's just serendipity that ENS has come around as well. So we have the best of both worlds between ICANN compliance from a reputational risk and the ENS Web3 native.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, all of you. If I were to summarize, take at least top-level high points from this, one is thank you for putting the trust in us. And then the other is, in having spent 15 to 18 years on the registry side, the amount of care, due diligence, depth that you guys have taken and spent into doing this the right way is going to help not just the larger ecosystem, but every other internet citizen coming online. And then again, ENS, I think this is serendipitous, as you said, being able to have that partnership that kicks off the right way to stability and security wise to bridge these worlds. So thank you. So we did how did this all started. The next theme I want to get into is, how in terms of implementation of tokenization on Doma. The first question I want to give it to you, Andriy, is, let's talk about the nuts and bolts. we signed, we started talking about this. You guys are done integrating. What's been the process like? What's worked? What were your initial thoughts? The whole, like, if you could give us, top line on that, that would be great.
So in the beginning, we were thinking actually to create tokenization by ourselves, and we started to analyze what resources we need, what we can do, and realize it's a really big task. It's not that simple. And when we started analyzing and reading documentation of Doma protocol, we realized that it's very simple. It's simple as an API, working with API. So it's any programmer, anyone can do it. And especially right now with API tools that just writing code for you, right? So it's even more simpler. But AI, if you will to think about AI, if it will create for you smart contracts and stuff like that, it's much more complicated for AI than working just with the API that describes how to work with. And so our team integrated pretty quick because it's very simple, straightforward. And our team also very advanced in Web3 part. That's why we also are using your Web3 integrations because you also support not only just APIs. One day for people who are more advanced, you would support different things for Web3 community. And we really like that because we also support custodial wallets for our clients. And this part needs deeper integration. And instead of creating something that will work only for us, we decided to integrate with you guys because it's simple, straightforward, and it will expand our market. For us, for our clients, it will bring more value than if we work by ourselves.
Sense. Thank you. Elias, question to you, a different one. The depth and breadth of your business is pretty significant. So which part of the business are you thinking of starting with for tokenization? And then, just initially, I met with your team, Marco and Yanis and Mish and everyone in terms of integration. And how is that going? So, yeah.
So I guess on the integration part, I have to be cautious what I'm saying because the team actually needs to have a listing. But no, I guess we can kind of resonate to what you said. I guess the documentation is great. It's more or less straightforward, especially I think, and that's kind of the benefit is it's fully accredited and fully up to ICANN standards. So it's not something new. We all need to find out how that works on the one side. And to your question of the business, and this is kind of when I said before, for our clients, it needs to be on the one side super easy. On the other side, I think there's a huge community on Web3. There's a lot, we saw it earlier, a lot of liquidity out there that we as a company would like to be part of. Yeah? And so the first element, kind of the first proof that we want to make is at the aftermarket side. Yeah. So high value names that are already out there, there's established systems, established platforms. Zedo, one of our sister companies, has a lot of names on their platform. So this is kind of the way moving forward for us.
Sounds good. Thank you. Tom, you were the first one. You've always led the charge. A lot of registrars we speak to, a lot of partners we speak to, especially the ones that are not Web3 native or savvy, one of the biggest concern is we'll have to start from scratch and we'll have to reinvent the wheel. But that's not true because you've shown with your integration that you did this in the existing setup. Thoughts on that and any words for registrars that are thinking about tapping into the Web3 market or bringing and bridging that over?
Absolutely. And I mean, tokenization, if you really understand, is a huge buzzword nowadays. They're tokenizing everything. They're tokenizing stock, rare paintings, bottles of wine, anything and everything can be tokenized. But really what the concept means that they're taking this real world asset and putting it away in some sort of vault, physically or virtually, so that when you then share it or fractionalize it on Web3 or sell it, there's trust. You're trusting someone has actually locked this away and secured it, so you can't essentially do this sort of rug pull. So Doma has solved that technical problem for us. It's given us a way to lock away this name. And real simple, I'll give you the mechanics of it. We all, as a registrar in registry, we all have these different EPP locks, right? Server locks for transfer prohibited or update prohibited. we decided to create another lock, call it a wallet lock. And this wallet lock means that it's in a vault. And so as it flies around Web3 and gets sold, we can track ownership changes or wallet changes and act accordingly, either maintain that lock or say, look, it's got to come out of the vault and go into another vault. And so, that Doma made that happen. But the other piece that we thought was missing is you can't do any of this without a digital wallet. That's step one. And so we've created something called My Public Wallet, and actually we've built it API first so that other registrars can use it as well. So you give people a wallet, doesn't need crypto, so easy onboarding. But once they have a wallet, when you tokenize it, you throw the resulting NFT right into that wallet, and they're ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you. So is it safe to say experience so far has been the integration process hasn't been disruptive to the business, it's been more of an addition. So the whole idea, because the only way we are successful is if this is a significant accelerant and an additive to the business and not a distraction. So fair to say that? Oh, thank you. We're going to go to the what of this, the best practices, what other registrars can learn. First question to you. For registrars in the audience thinking about exploring tokenization, what would you recommend? What lessons have you learned? What are, say, top 3 things? If, as they are sitting on the sideline thinking about...
For existing registrars.
Yeah.
So first of all...
Yes, existing registrars. Or future.
But I think they don't have to be scared about this process because this is something that will add value to their offerings. So it will expand market. It will give more opportunities to their clients. And it's a time right now to learn. It's time to integrate because this is future. Maybe a little bit too early for some registrars, but it's future, and a little bit later you will come to this solution anyway. So if you will learn it right now, you will be better than hundreds registrars. Basically, like it's your opportunity to start learning, start integrate. And one of the things also about learning part, we as a registrar, we decided to teach our customers by launching free domain zone, tokenized domain, that any registrant could register at NicNames and just play with it. So see how it will be tokenized on testnet, see how it resolves in MetaMask, see how to transfer NFT between different owners, do different wallets, how to use custodial wallet or your own wallet, and it's all free. So, and it's one of the things that we decided that it's important because some people still have to learn because they are not in Web B and they kind of scared a little bit, but it's very simple when you try. So that's why we decided to launch this free solution, and actually registrars who don't know how that works, they also welcome to come to us to play with it. And we also will answer any questions if you guys need any support, because we're very open. Well,
that's brilliant. Thank you. So yeah, you learn better when you're hands-on. So appreciate you doing that. Tom, what different lines of revenues do you see come out of bridging this gap between Web 2 and Web 3, tokenized on-chain domains, and just opening up the Web3 market, not just for EnCirca, but in general for our industry?
Absolutely. I also want to add on to your comment for registrars out there. We all stay awake at night worrying about nightmare scenarios for our business, right? Will we get an ICANN complaint, or will there be an issue with one of our clients' domains? Doma has basically eliminated the risk of ICANN or DNS related issues. The risk is off the table that they will, 8 years ago or even less, they were very hostile towards Web3 projects. If you remember some of their blog posts, that's not going to happen with Doma because it's completely in sync with the ICANN lifecycle. New revenue, I mentioned the 3 pillars before. We're really excited about decentralized identity. We think single sign-on is going to be huge. Sign in with your wallet. We think is going to be widely adopted. So we're really excited about that. And we even think that with what I call the wallet lock, we have a better solution than a registry lock, which currently costs several $100s a year. You do a multi-sig on wallet lock, and you can let customers lock up their own name without even involving the registry or the registrar.
Thank you. I'm going to take a different question approach with you, of course. Going through this process and just having this conversation and looking at all of this, what's the one or two things that have surprised you as you and your team have dug deeper into this new space?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, no, I guess there's two very small and the big one. I guess on the big one, I was actually surprised when you showed me the first time kind of the numbers, how many active wallets are out there, how much liquidity is out there. Because if you compare that to other, I mean, also to the Web 2 domain space, those are huge numbers, right? So that was clearly something that surprised me, because when we first had our initial discussion, I thought it was more like I mean, it still is a side quest for us, right? But we see what the future brings. But I thought it was way, way smaller. Yeah, so I think that was one surprise. The other surprise, and this is kind of, well, I guess that gave me the feedback on where we stand on a person level and where our customers, so majority of our customers, I said it before, are really the brick and mortar, the old school businesses. So we took a survey out in the US where we thought, well, US is way more progressed, way more active, way more techy. We did a survey there, and every day it shifted. Every day it shifted from, please introduce that service, to better don't do it. It was really interesting. At the end, I mean, at the end it turned out into, let's do it and we're going to do it. But it was not as clear as we expected. That's why why is the surprise, or what's the action that we took is, I think we need to educate way more, right? So it's not as obvious as it might be for some of us. For a customer, it's still a bit scary, right? It's still, and that's what I'm saying, we really need to find, at least for us, for our customers, we need to find ways to really democratize it, right? So it needs to be as easy, simple. Trust is a very big topic. Yeah. So if your domain is gone, nobody is going to like that. Yeah. So I think those are the elements.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's the only way this works. And this is not a sprint, right? It's a marathon where it's building blocks, and we need to build it in the right way where the foundation is solid. So then when we get to the next levels, it just accelerates all our businesses and the ecosystem. So yeah, thank you. Here's the next theme is opportunity and why this matters for the industry. So Elias, I'm going to start with you. How do you think this will shape or reshape the registrar ecosystem as adoption grows? So, we go beyond the trust. I mean, we established trust, we established the foundation, and now it's unlocking massive potential. So,
well, how is it going to reshape if I would know that? I mean, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here, but somewhere in the Caribbean, I don't know. But no, I think honestly, if the whole endeavor is going to be successful, will be successful in the future, it needs to be kind of independent, whether it's Web 2 or Web 3. So the boundaries need to be fluent and transparent to the end customer. It really needs to be like, I saw a demo a couple of days ago where it was still, you need to log in here, then there's another wallet, there's another click, that's not how it works, right? So I think it's on you, on us, to make sure that the process is similar, like register a domain, selling a domain nowadays, whatever use cases of identity or whatever is going to come in the future, it needs to be totally, the same user experience at the end, whether it's Web 2, Web 3, or who knows what's coming up in the future.
But I want a little bit to add in this. Like people will think about future, like for example, in 10 years and 20 years, domain names could be actually your actual foundation of the stock. Because if you will tokenize domain name, I don't know, GoDaddy.com, and will start selling shares of the domain name, it will be literally stock of that company, right? So it's basically domain names. It's the foundation of any business. And in the future, maybe not in the US because it's too regulated, but in other countries, like Ukraine, for example, we don't have stock market, but we have domain names that represent businesses, huge businesses that they need to raise money. So they go into tokenize domain name, they sell those shares, and they raise in money. Easy. So it's very close. We're much closer than you think.
I want to, that's a great point. And, you know, Mizu.xyz is that platform for fractionalization of domain names the right way. But one of the driving forces for Fred and the team to get into tokenizing of domains beyond bridging the gap or between Web 2 and Web 3 was we spend a lot of time talking to Solana community, Base community, Avalanche, again, who are all partners. And they're like, oh, you're telling me domains, DNS anchored domains are the OG real world assets, which means they have inherent value. So unlike other Web3 assets that could go 1000% up one day and drop to 0%, that doesn't happen with domains. It holds its value. So that's a great segue.
Yeah, some domains that they registered 10 years ago, I saw for like big numbers, and the other domains they are still out. They still will grow the price, and I know that. Yeah. And with Mizu, with other marketplaces, I think I can monetize them much better than just on the secondary market.
So, well, I'll give you another example. I can't name the name yet, but we've had someone saw, I think, Fred, it was your X Spaces a month or 2 months ago where, or it was Discord, we were talking about fractionalization. There's this person who has owned a .com name for more than 30 years. That's the only name the person owns, but doesn't want to sell the name, and heard about fractionalization and says, a wildly successful person, right? Oh, I can actually get liquidity off my name without having to let go of my baby.
That's another great idea. A watermelon farmer.
Yeah. This is a great segue, Tom, to a question for you. And given the nature of EnCirca's business and the different types of customers you guys interact with and support, what are some of the other use cases you would see of tokenized domains beyond the financial aspect or investment aspect?
So when you think about the addressable market, right? If you're an MBA or doing a business plan, there's 360 million domains today. Most of the activity is trying to grab the startups, the new company formation. That's where new names are coming into the zone. And they estimate probably 20 million new startups a year. So the addressable market, in my view, are individuals. There's 3 billion people out there with access to the internet. And so I think that's a huge growth opportunity for the domain name industry if we can come up with use cases for individuals to own domain names. And then we can get into what AI is going to do to this space, and you'll have agents also owning domain names. So there's huge growth opportunities. And so the registrar community, we have to figure out, like I'm the exclusive for .cpa. You see the firms getting .cpa. So we've sold 8,000 to firms. There's 500,000 CPAs just in the US. So I would love to figure out how to get each one of those CPAs their own domain name. We'll talk later, yeah. So don't give it away. Yes, credentialing. So we need a use case to compel individuals to buy domain names, and this space will grow 10 times.
Let me give you an example on the ICANN accreditation. Yeah. So each registrar has ICANN accreditation, and each registrar has domain name. What ICANN will issue accreditation on chain and connect it to tokenized name. In this case, you can verify that this registrar is actually ICANN accredited through on-chain process. Yeah. Same thing with the CPAs or anything, that you can verify that they have actually this education, they have this certification, and you connect it together with the domain names.
Yeah,
I'm on board.
and that's what we are doing, right? We're going beyond just selling domain names, but truly turning it into digital ownership, right? Owning and trading the internet, where that was the fundamental idea of internet. It was open for everyone and with ownership. And now this is just a massive additional benefit for that. So keep the ideas coming and let us know how we can support you guys with that. The next theme is future. What comes next? And I know it's hard to predict, so take out your 8-ball. Looking forward, what does the next 12 months look like from a tokenization, from a business perspective, from just an overall positive implication perspective. So first question to you, from InterNetX's perspective, what's the long-term vision for DomainFi? And is it infrastructure, marketplace, or an entire new asset class or user base or all of the above? And it can't be a one-word answer.
Yes. No, sure. No, sure. I guess I would say it's more or less all of it, because I think that there's various elements to it. I guess we talked about identity, so I clearly believe that there will be identity use cases out there. Yeah, so I agree with that one. For us, it's also going to be a new community that we can address, because let's be honest, in Web3, probably nobody knows InterNetX, or maybe not Ionos. Yeah, so that's new untapped potential for us. And also the marketplace part of it. That's the part we're going to start with implementing, because it's there already. So ideally, all of them.
Makes sense. And if you think of it, when domains came out, when internet 30 years ago, it started with two asset class. It was domain investors, or people who saw the potential in domains as an additive to their journey online. And there were corporates that went on. And then it just evolved into what we know as the infrastructure of now. So thank you. Tom, and I know you answered this, but if you can add more color, do you see tokenization as additive or transformative to the registrar business model? Again, not just yours, but in general. And in what flavors?
So as I say, the most logical bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 are the registrars. They own the customer relationship, right? Especially with Thin Who Is. Every TLD basically has gone thin. And so since they own the customer relationship, they can be accountable for any bad actors. And so they are the trustworthy character in this whole chain. And so I think it's a natural custodian for bridging Web 3.
Yeah, double clicking on that. I remember I joined D3 in January, right? And before joining, Fred was kind enough to say, hey, because I was on the non-Web3 side, and I'm like, why would I even, why? And he's like, fly out. No, those strings attached, fly out, talk to the team, see what we are building, and then you decide. And while sitting there, I'm looking at what they're building, what was being built. And there were investors and board members too. And I'm like, okay, so why are we going through the pain of building a bridge but not having our own registrar? And why are we doing this so that, we just do end to end? And that's exactly what he said. He's like, to what end? We need to build something where it truly is for everyone. And registrars are key to this. So we should not get into that aspect too. So, kudos to that. Question for you. And you've been amazing with sharing insights, giving hands-on experience. So what are some of the advices or top 3 that you would give registrars that are not even on the sidelines, that are just not thinking about Web3 right now? What should they look out for? What should they keep in mind? There are people, early adopters, and then there are people on the sidelines that are going to be fast seconds. And then there are going to be registrars that just this is not for me. And I feel like it's going to be a missed opportunity, and not just for them, but for their customers too. So
I would say that we need to think about how we can add value, how we can satisfy customer. And if the registrar want to give something different to their clients, they should think about what clients want, or maybe sometimes you have to give them something to try. It's like Apple, right? So when Apple come to us with some new device, they only were thinking that this device will be amazing for you because of that, and that. And that's why we're all using this Apple device, right? So we should think about how to add this value to our customer, how to satisfy our customer. And if in a couple of years, startup can register domain name and raise money through Mizu, for example, that would be amazing. Because right now, startups, they're struggling to find this money and everything. But this is a very simple way to do it. And it's pretty cool. And we should think how to make it simple, how to make it accessible. And in this case, it will work. But if we will make it complicated with 9 steps to set up ENS is something, nobody will use it. So our goal as a registrar is to make it simple, nice, safe, and friendly to customers. And I'm talking about every registrar. Even if you not join Doma protocol or something, you should think about your customer first. And if you're making it nice, accessible, people will use you.
Yeah, awesome. And then you are giving a sandbox for anyone and everyone to test it out live, hands-on. So I think people should definitely.
Yeah, and we started with our employees. We started with our employees because our employees also were like, "What is that?" So, and one of the first tasks was for each employee to tokenize their domain to try how that works. And everyone like was very easy. Like even our CFO, who she's like, "What is that?" And she tokenized and like, "Oh, I have tokenized domain now." I'm like,
That's awesome. Oh, she was happy. That's awesome. And that's the hope, right? I mean, from my perspective and D3 and Doma's perspective, and even ENS's perspective, it's in the next 12 months. So we have gone from conceptualization to actual tokenization. In the next 12 months, we want to accelerate that for tokenized domains, on-chain domains just becomes the norm of, no one's, I would love to be here in 12 months and no one's talking about Web 2 and Web 3 as two different things. It's just the internet. So,
yeah, by the way, I already mentioned also when we started this test domain and you guys posted on your Discord that we doing that, we got plus 1,000 pints from you guys. So it's also pretty cool. Awesome, man. Like for other registrars, like work with Doma and you will have more clients.
yeah, I mean, that's the hope. So I'm glad it worked out and it's working out. I want to wrap this up with a few thoughts and then also thanking each and every one of you. And then if we have time, would love to open up for questions. But, we are here because of partners like you guys and everyone in this room. Similarly, we are here because of the partnerships with Coinbase and Avalanche and Solana on the Web3 side. Our efforts with DomainFi, Doma, protocol, Mizu, all of it is to unlock the massive potential that's not unlocked right now. And it's literally a community of builders, innovators, registrars, registrants, whilst keeping to what's working. That, internet works because of the stability, security that's built into the ICANN rules and regulations, and we are building with it along. So big shout out, big thank you to all three of you. We want every one of your customers and the future customers to own and be able to trade the internet as and how they see fit. And, we'll continue to play our small part in it to enable it. So yeah, guys, please, a big round of applause for all three of them and also to you guys to be here and, being part of this journey. Yes. Questions? Do we have, I'm waiting for, do we have time for questions? Yeah. Anyone has questions for our registrars? Or Fred? Or Alex?
You guys feel free to just come to us and ask any questions you want. We will gladly answer any questions.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna give my mic, please.
Thank you, guys. Can you explain we registrar called X server in Japan, surely? And I know that lots of Web3 stuff are moving right now, really focused on European and American market, saying you can do most of the stuff in English. Would that work with IDNs, knowing that in Japan, for example, I can register a Japanese domain, Japanese characters, .co, something? Would the system be able to also tokenize this naturally, or does it need some adaptation at the moment? Thank you.
I can answer this question. So tokenized domain names, they are not different from other domains, and IDN domain supports natively has any other domain. Maybe sometimes it could be problems with the characters to correctly show them somewhere, but it's fixable if there are any problems. Like just you need to let know the dev team, and that's it. So it's fixable, but all domains works exactly the same as other domains. Yeah. Thank you for questions. Any other questions?
Did it too.
So my English school ask about me. 我翻译一下，你们认为下一个新底域名会诞生很多大的名字吗？或者这些名字有问题怎么问呢？就是我的问题是，你们认为下一个那个新底域名会不会超过上一个感受这种4000多位级的名字？明白我意思吗？
Oh,
OK，
okay. Jack, the just question is, do you think any bigger any bigger TLD in this now or new GTLD, do you think any labs will be more valuable than the top shop and the last rounds?
If I understood correctly, so in the next round of ICANN, if the domain, some domains will be more valuable than others, right? Or
Yeah. His main is related to you. Do you think is there any tier leakage? What value to write?
I think I understand the question, and let me fantasize. Yeah, so if someone will register domain, for example, .wallet, that will be a very, very extensive asset, and I think the few companies will fight for that domain zone, and it will be super valuable for both Web 2 and Web 3 because .wallet is pretty cool domain. Yeah. So it's, if I understood question correctly. But other names also could be super valuable, and it depends on the marketing and ideas, right? So you can create totally unique domain zone, and it could be super valuable everywhere. So it just depends on your marketing team and your ideas. Thank you for the question.
What percentage of this is a small, if any, is kind of dedicated towards retail? Now you mark that.
Or I guess maybe it's important to know. So I guess retail for us is more than 90% of our business. So we need to find a solution that is highly valuable for our retail business. So we cannot only do it for wholesale. Sure, wholesale might be the easier one to entrance. But if we look at the aftermarket part, there's a lot of that is retail from our definition. Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at upcoming use cases to what you said, I mean, if there's an identity use case coming up, this is then really clear retail, right? Maybe we find partners to resell it. Sure, that will help us as a multiplier. But the way we look at it is it has to be workable for retail at the end. And for us, that would mean a larger part of our business.
Thanks. And just to, another opportunity that is really huge here is the ability for anyone who has a community of members or customers or partners or suppliers to basically create their own namespace and give every one of their customers, for example, their own wallet. And so I think you'll see registries come out of the woodwork that are just people serving their customers and giving them wallets. So retail is not just aftermarket, but it's developing the communities and giving them some additional functionality to do all these decentralized stuff we've been talking about.
And I'll just add to this and give what I've seen so far in 10 months dealing with the Web3 ecosystems, right? The tokenization of domains as a real-world asset is just step one. It is to bring domains, DNS-anchored domains front and center for the community of 180 plus million wallets and active users, where once they start using that as an asset class and then using the bridge we have and the partnership with ENS to become an identity layer, more and more as real world assets get tokenized and bridged into Web3 and vice versa, I foresee and as the user interface, UI and UX gets better and better, I will foresee a lot of registrars, existing and future registrars, build out their lines of business and offerings into that world. So once they have the domains, once they tokenize, I could see, a version of link in bio being there or a version of email being there. Classic example, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but Coinbase has has their own blockchain called Base, and they have an app that's in beta called the Base app. And the whole idea with that is to bring all the different versions and variety of Web 2 into Web 3. All of it is on chain, but the user interface is an app that we actually use. And once you get, our domain Doma is on Base, and we're gonna be on that app, and then domains will come over there. And then as and when these guys and the other registrars start building and tokenizing domains, the value added services that we know in our market will get added. Will it be the same? Some amount of those will be, and then there'll be new value added services that will be built out for those ecosystems. So there's that.
So I might be asking something that's slightly naive because this is my first time being at ICANN, but
First time.
The points about value-based services and so on, and specifically around trust. Within TLS, obviously, in the early days of the web, it kind of became sort of a trust aid for people in terms of they look at a website and expect to see the padlock there. Now, that was to represent the encryption of the communication going on behind the scenes, rather than saying that this website is safe. At the same time, it was something that kind of emerged to provide people with more trusted. And there is kind of this, I suppose something goes around in my head a lot, is in the context of Web3. Is there going to need to be something beyond that? I think what we have within the DNS ecosystem, and obviously I've seen the data as well. You have the notion of reverse resolution and primary names. But is that going to be enough? Is there going to need to be that sort of primitive beyond that? What could it look like? Because I have no idea, but at the same time, I'm quite interested, especially to hear from people who were kind of have been in the domain world for a long time. Probably got that perspective about the influence of TLS, that could be helpful as well for framing this conversation.
I can take a stab at it. So we've talked about digital identities, but we haven't really talked about use cases for that. So we've talked single sign-on is the obvious one, signing with your domains. But how about maintaining your medical file? And so if you have to go to the ER in Dublin, you're from another country, you can selectively give access to the ER doctors, your medical data. So that the level of security to ensure that is not inadvertently disclosed is critical. And so there's, if you're using this as your personal vault, it contains your will, your last words and testament, your keys to your crypto wallets, keys to your bank accounts. It's the security is going to be critical.
Yeah, I also want to add here, if we're talking about safety and everything, so we already the same ICANN rules and everything. So people trust registrars because registrars are accredited, because registrars following all this compliance documents and everything. Here the same thing. So registrar basically is like ESCO for this domain name, because a registrar will log this domain and will manage depending what happened on chain. So if on chain owner is said to transfer this domain name, registrar will do it. Yeah, so it's basically the same thing, and that's why I think Doma protocol works only with the canonical version.
So exactly, and I was going to add to that is that's the idea behind Doma protocol, right? It's anchored. It's a Web 2 name that's tokenized, but it's still anchored to the entire life cycle of the domain name, governed and mandated by ICANN. So that stays in play. At the same time, there's a massive education awareness being undertaken by us and then our partners in the Web3 side, because there's also that memory that needs to be built out for the Web3 side, that a domain is how it operates in Web 2. That's a domain, not the other naming conventions they have. By the way, just to add to that, so we have Alex, who is the CISO at ENS, so he might have a much more in-depth answer on security, stability on domains and ENS. So I'm going to hand it to ENS. Oh. Sorry to put you on the slaughter, but we have you in our vision.
they're kind of like present, right?
Yeah, I really don't have very much to add to this particular question. I think Tom brought up some great points in terms of the use cases, and others. I think security will be absolutely critical here, but the idea of cryptographically verifying all of these records, I think, is extraordinarily important to the concept of digital identities, and I really think that would be a game changer to the entire DNS industry as well. If you compare, as James had indicated earlier, the usernames, billions and billions of usernames, yet as Fred indicated, 364 million domains. And I think that's going to change when we start to use domains as digital identifiers. And it will then solve this use case issue of domains dropping off from registrars. If a domain is going to be used for your digital identity, it will always be renewed year after year, year after year. So it solves a revenue issue too. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian from Identity Digital. You spoke a lot about the tokenization starting at the registrar layer. How the registrar layer is part of the trust chain. In a scenario where a registrar gets compromised, what is the role of a registry in this tokenization set? ICANN. And that question is more for Vora or Andriy.
Let me think about it. So if a registrar compromise and registry, what registry can do, I think registry can help to restore some information. I don't know, like it depends like what the type of compromisation. That's it's like very interesting question, but like in which case registrar could be compromised? So like.
Yeah, so sorry, let's just give an example. So talk a little bit about a LAMA where you're placing registrar level holds as a DNS to prevent control, potentially where it really is leveraged in the Doma protocol. Let's say you're using fractionalized ownership, and the main assets to be held at the registrar level. But if the registrar, either through social manipulation or your support department gets compromised and they can use around, it breaks the chain of ownership. And is there a responsibility on the registry to maintain similar records for a tokenization set for to lock that domain name at a registry level or to maintain that level of trust?
I think that's a great question because I've stayed up at night thinking about this as well. Because any one of my people can be social engineered or they can go rogue, right? And so we've certainly engineered our platform so that our clients, can't get into our clients' domains. But Doma actually also provides me an additional layer of security from my registrar being compromised because we put this name into a vault, right? And the only people who can take it out of vault is really the customer, the owner of that name. And you add multi-sig, now you got 2 or 3 people at the customer. I can't touch it. It's in that vault, right? So as long as they don't do something that breaks the ICANN lifecycle, it's even more secure if I get compromised. So I would think we're making names more secure with this wallet lock than you've ever seen before.
But still, wallet lock it's on your registrar side, and that's why I'm thinking for the registry we can add maybe some specific status of the domain name, like it's locked, like it's in a vault or it's a Web3 tokenized domain name. In this case, it will add additional layer of security. So I think it could be a very good thing to have additional status.
Yeah, so this would be an additional EPP status that doesn't exist today. Maybe that'd be what we're talking about, is adding to the spec.
So my question was actually building off some of what Sarden asked. I was curious what happens when a Web2 domain expires. So here ties these permanent things to an asset which you never acted on, right? You never actually owned, and then essentially the beast again. So I'm just curious how that works through the life cycle.
You want to walk through your? Yeah, actually, Doma protocol solves this, and we don't really have to worry about it because if domain name expires, it has all this information on Doma protocol, and it expires. And also, we have opportunity to detokenize domain name if we want to do that. For example, to external transfer something else. But later, when more and more registrars will support Doma protocol, we don't have even to detokenize the domain to transfer it, for example, and just send it to another registrar. But yeah, don't go actually solve this problem for registrars, so we don't have to think about it.
It's built into the API, and that's what I meant by it's synced to the life cycle. So yeah.
Seeking some advice as a company that will be applying for some TLDs in the upcoming ICANN round. And we're interested in tokenizing these names on MainChain, but we also don't have, we're looking for partners when it comes to integrating with the DNS system and with ICANN, because of course there's a lot of layers there as well. So what advice would you have for a company like ours that is looking to apply for some GTLDs that is we like to tokenize on MainChain? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of new TLD applications that are blockchain oriented, right? And so this is the right place for you to be, because talk to registries and registrars and consultants who are making that bridging happen. There's a few here. So I think the advice is start showing up to ICANN. There's some other industry events, NamesCon as well, and Dubai days. But surely ICANN is your best opportunity to talk to people who are making this happen.
Also, to add to that, and this goes back to why Fred decided not to have our own registrar, but more of bringing every registrar on board, is the next round, whenever it goes live, as long as the registrars are integrated on Doma, all their customers and all the TLDs they carry will have the ability to tokenize the domain names at the registrar and registrant level. So
yeah, if you do it correctly, all the registrars will register your domains in the domain zone, and you will you will monetize it immediately to other registrars.
Yep. Maybe may add just one side comment. I guess, as you already said, there's going to be a lot of applications, very likely. I mean, there are some companies out there stating they will individually register more or apply for more than 200. I guess at the end, it really depends on what is your use case, how big is also your business case, right? Do you want to be in the next fire? Is it more like high priced, low volume, or you want to go big? I guess the bigger you want to go, I think there's certain partners out there that you can't goes out. Yeah, so I guess similar as we are here, I think making a platform successful, I think you need to think of your TLD in the same way, right? If you want to go big, find big partners. If it's more like a very specific niche that you targeted, can be more high value, it still could be a success, but I think that's kind of the initial thought you need to make sure you have and understand.
Yeah, and also I want to add a little bit. Also, you have to think about marketing and how to position the domain zone, because there are a lot of domain zones from the previous round that has like 1,000 registrations. That's it. So they wasn't able to monetize because they wasn't able to push it because they didn't have like clear idea why people have to register with domain name. So it's also one of the things that's very important.
Yeah, the other advice I'm giving folks is, who's your target market and what's the best way to reach them? And so do you want GoDaddy customers? Then you'll have to pay GoDaddy for shelf space or some other top registrar. But if you already have a community and you got to do your own marketing to that community, then you really want a technology-based registrar. So and perhaps you need to reach the channel some other way. So it really, I think what it comes down to is figure out what your business plan is, your business strategy. I don't think we should be hung up about the ICANN structure. You can find partners that will help you execute your business plan and you still be in compliance with ICANN.
Thank you. We have time for one more question, and then we gotta move on to important business of happy hour. So yeah.
Thank you very much for the interesting presentation, and it's exciting to see how much further the response of this comes since the whole workshop data. I'm curious, we mentioned before, pre-geeky status, and we talked about standardization, how much these services will be if folks all use the same tokenization protocol. So I'm wondering how much involvement do your engineers or your CTOs have at the IETF level? Do you have RFCs out? Are there drafts in place? Like, how standardized will this become? Can they all use the same metric system, not use rulers with engines on it?
So, I mean, the idea of there is a new DNS resource record that ICANN has promoted. That's a wallet resource record. So there are the standards bodies are making moves that recognize that, for example, wallet is a key attribute that they want to associate with a domain name. I don't think they're coming close to wallet locks. They probably haven't thought about that yet, but definitely there's already in the DNS a resource record for wallet.
Well, just to add to that, and I am not going to talk to the technical aspect of it, but from our perspective, we have our CTO and our chief architect officer very active in the IETF and the other SAC realms, just to make sure we're doing and building this the right way. And at the end of the day, right, this is meant to be a community thing built together. So we want to make sure it's built in a way that's scalable, but also open for all of us. So, yeah. Awesome. Another round of applause. Thank you, guys. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. You guys have had amazing questions. Let's continue those questions async and with a beverage in our hand, potentially alcoholic beverage. And then, yeah.